The Super Bowl is over, and the NFL thinks they won the year, but while everyone was watching the game, Lionel Messi was quietly rewriting the business of sports. Here is the $1.45 billion truth. Dumbly as of this week, Inter Miami is officially worth $1.45 billion. Think about that. In just 30 months, Messi took a last-place team and made it more valuable than entire NHL franchises. Patrick Mahomes makes $50 million a year. To get hit by 300-pound linebackers, Messi, he makes double that passively. Just because you subscribe to Apple TV, the NFL owned February. Beamed. But with the World Cup coming to America in June of 2026, Messi is about to own the summer in this video. I am going to show you the leaked numbers, the secret Apple clause, and why the NFL is actually terrified of what happens next. To understand how insane this is, you have to look at the math. Before Messi landed in Florida, Inter Miami was valued at $585 million. They were a brand new team, with no history, playing in a temporary stadium, but look at the chart now, as of February 2026. Sportico values them at $1.45 billion. Man, that is a 22% jump in just the last 12 months. For the first time in history, they have overtaken LAFC to become the most valuable club in Major League Soccer. But here is the comparison that should scare the traditional American sports owners. The average NHL team is worth around $1.3 billion. That means a soccer team built in a parking lot in Fort Lauderdale is now worth more than historic hockey franchises like the Detroit Red Wings or the Boston Bruins. And while the NFL grew at a steady pace last year, Inter Miami's revenue is projected to hit $250 million this season. That is up almost 300% since the pre-Messi era. But how? Blames they didn't just sell more jerseys, they hacked the system using something I call the Apple clause. When Messi left Paris, he turned down $400 million a year from Saudi Arabia. Mondi, everyone thought he was crazy, but Messi knew something they didn't. He didn't just sign a player contract. He signed a partnership with the richest company on earth, Apple. Reports confirm that Messi gets a cut of revenue from new international subscribers to the MLS Season Pass. This is the difference between being an employee, like Patrick Mahomes, and being a partner in 2026. Apple is 3 years into a $2.5 billion streaming deal with the league. And because Messi is the product, he gets paid like the owner. The NFL has a hard salary cap. Giant players can only make so much. But Messi's income has no ceiling. If 10 million people in China or Brazil subscribe to watch him play, his paycheck goes up. This equity over salary model is already changing the league. Look at LAFC. They just signed Son Heung-min, the South Korean superstar, and their valuation jumped 9% to $1.4 billion. The players are becoming the business model, but all of those numbers are just the warm-up. We are currently 4 months away from the biggest event in the history of sports. The 2026 World Cup, right here in the USA, usually. After the Super Bowl, American sports go to sleep until September. But this year is different. While NFL stars are on vacation, the entire world will be focusing on American stadiums. And guess who is the face of the tournament? Kino, Lionel Messi. The MLS season kicks off next week with Inter Miami playing LAFC at the Memorial Coliseum. They moved the game to a stadium with 77,000 seats, and it sold out instantly. This is not normal for soccer in America. This is NFL-level demand. And this is the long-term threat to the NFL, kids. Every time Messi plays on American soil, a kid chooses a soccer ball instead of a helmet. The World Cup is going to accelerate that shift by 10 years in a single summer. So, is this valuation a bubble? Critics say that once Messi retires, Inter Miami goes back to being worth zero. But look at what the owners are building. They are building Miami Freedom Park, a massive billion-dollar complex that opens partially this year. They are betting that Messi is just the launch pad. By the time he retires, they hope to have a global super club that can compete with Real Madrid or Manchester United. It is a high-stakes gamble. If Messi gets injured or retires early, that $1.45 billion number could crash. But right now, the stock is only going up. So, let's be realistic for a second. The NFL is still the undisputed king of American cash. Their domestic TV deals are worth $110 billion. No one is denying that power. But for the first time in history, the king has a legitimate challenger. Think about the trajectory. The NFL is a domestic giant, trying to go global, but Messi brought the global game to a domestic audience, and the money is following the attention. Private equity firms that used to only buy NFL or NBA stakes are now circling MLS clubs. They see the valuation of Inter Miami hitting $1.45 billion, and they realize this is not a retirement league anymore. It is a growth stock. Lionel Messi didn't just come to America to retire on a beach. He came to build an empire that will outlast his playing career. So when the World Cup leaves in 2026, ask yourself this. Will the NFL still be the only game in town? Or are we watching the beginning of a new world order? If you enjoyed this breakdown of the business of sports, make sure to hit that subscribe button and click this video right here to see how David Beckham actually finessed the deal of the century to get Messi in the first place. I will see you in the next one.